Hey, what's up, good people? This is Arthur Toole. I am your host for the Restart Podcast. And on this podcast, what I do is I share all the highs and lows, the lessons, the good, the bad that I've learned on this entrepreneurial journey. And then we're also going to bring in people who are just far greater than I am on this road to success and bring them in. Because my goal is to get you to get to your success faster and to enjoy the journey more, right? There's certain lessons that come along with this entrepreneurial journey that's trial and error that you don't have to learn on your own. You can learn by listening to others. Now, this isn't a motivational podcast. This is a real truth podcast. So I'm gonna give you the real as I felt it, as I experienced it, and I'm sure the other experts will. Got it? Okay, so what we're gonna talk about today, I'm going to talk about the thing that everybody always asks. It's the sexy thing that they do at the conferences. What's your why, right? And so here's the thing. I'm not going to hit you with, oh, you got to come up with a creative why. In reality, you already have a why for what you're doing. You have a why for why you're not working out. You have a why for working out. You have a why for why you're going to your job. You have a why for launching your business. You have a why for marrying that person. You have a why for not marrying that person. I want you to get to the real why on why you're launching your business. Okay, that's the thing. Not this sexy thing that we put on, our poster boards when we do the I forgot what you call it, those parties, right? Dream board parties, right? None of that. Your real why. Because for some of us, the reason why you started entrepreneurship is because you hated your job. For some of us, the real reason, the why you started your business was because you were unemployed, right? And here's the thing, you will never grow past that why, right? If you don't acknowledge it, right? So you can tell me that you wanted freedom for yourself, but in reality, if the reality of that is you only wanted to get off from up under a bad manager, then from the start, you're crippling your ability to be successful. Because not only do you have to have a good product, not only do you have to have a good process, not only do you have to have good people and brand awareness and marketing, but you have to have a good mental setting, which means you need to understand the real reason that you did something and then question if that reason is good enough, right? If you leave your job to start a business and the reason you did it was because you didn't want a boss, then you're setting yourself up for failure because there's still going to be people that tell you what to do, right? Let's say you create the new box of cereal and you put 3 times as much sugar in it because you felt like it wasn't enough sugar. And let's say kids don't like it and parents don't like it. Are you going to still push that cereal? No, you're going to change the cereal because the kids don't like it and the parents don't like it, right? And so you're going to do what they say or you're going to go out of business. Right? So your why can't be because I had a bad manager. So let's say, okay, you know what? I'm doing it for my kids. I'm doing it for my family. I want to create generational wealth. Well, what is that, right? What does wealth mean to you? Does wealth mean to you $1 billion, $1 million? Does it mean being debt free? Does it mean to have the ability to have a life that you can enjoy, right? Like if you don't know what wealth means for you, then how do you know what generational wealth means? You have to be able to define it and quantify it. And right now, the sexy thing is generational wealth. Everybody's saying generational wealth. And honestly, most of the time people are saying generational wealth is to entice you to come to their conference, right? Nothing against conferences, as you know, but I just want to hit you with the truth. So you can't say, ooh, it's generational wealth, unless you can define what generational wealth is. Generational wealth for me is that I am debt free, and that I have one revenue source, a cash flow vehicle that's coming in, that's taking care of my basic needs. I have another cash flow vehicle that's building up on the investments. And then I can invest in other people's businesses and help them grow. That's wealth to me. Generational wealth is not necessarily having my kids or my godkids or whoever come into the business, but that they can go and do what they want to do with their lives. So if Jathan wants to be a soccer player, fine. If Lauren wants to be a dancer, fine. If Chris wanted to own a comic book store, fine. Their decisions in life, and if Isabel want to be a swimmer, fine. If John Michael want to be, a hiker, fine. Like, you get the picture. But generational wealth for me is that their decisions aren't dictated by their finances, because their base finances have been taken care of by the efforts I do today. That's generational wealth for me. Okay. And so that's part of the why. And so you have to be able to define that for yourself, quantify it so you know what it looks like when you get there. Right. And then that way you won't be tossed to and fro from other people's decisions, other people's definitions. It may mean for you that you don't need to be a billionaire. You don't need to be a millionaire. You may only need $500,000 for what you need. But you're out here struggling and hustling for $1 million when you don't even know if that's enough. What if you do get the $1 million and in your mind, that's what wealthy is? And then you find out when you look at your finances, you really needed 2.5 million. Right. So if you're trying to go that generational wealth as your why, then quantify that so you'll know it. Right. But here's the thing. Truth be told, money is the weakest why that you can have. Right. Like things change over time. Right. $1 today is not the same as $1 5 years from now or $1 10 years from now. It won't be worth the same. So even if you say you want $1 million, it may not have the same purchasing power as $1 million in the future, right? So give you an example. If you want $1 million so you can buy the $1 million house, that same house 10 years from now may cost you $1.5 million. So if you say I want to make $1 million today so you can buy that house in 10 years, then in 10 years you'll find out that you don't have enough. You still make the million, but you don't have enough, right? But that's a lesson for another day. So money isn't the best why. And it's the least motivational, right? So when I made my first $1 million with Sith Institute, I didn't even know it, right? Like I was in a conversation and then realized I made $1 million and it was just unfulfilling. And I know some troll gonna be like, oh, that, lucky you. But if you hadn't experienced it, then you just don't understand, right? So I would encourage you to try to find a different why other than money, right? Like your gift will make room for you. If you're excellent at what you do and you're working within your gift and anointing and you understand marketing is about relationships, right? Building relationships with customers, building relationship with businesses. If you understand those and you're hyper focused on that and you're flexible enough in your product offer to make sure that you're actually meeting the demands of the people, your business is going to take off. It may take some time, but it'll take off, right? I mean, and then the last thing, make sure that the cost to create it and the cost to market it and advertise it is less than the cost you sell it for, right? And the cost you sell it for is less than the value you create for other people. Like if you do all those, your business is fine. It's just a matter of time, right? So you gotta make the why real. It has to penetrate your soul. Like it has to be that thing that no matter what you see, no matter what you experience, you're willing to go through it, right? And that's tough. That's a hard thing, right? Because in this society, everything is so flashy, everything is so quick, right? You can start a business today and be in 5 different businesses by the end of the year, right? Everybody's on the hot now, and nobody's on the thing that lasts, right? And so you have to fight that urge. And it's really difficult in this microwave society, right? So the why has to be, it doesn't have to be grandiose, but it has to just make your heart beat a little bit faster. Do you understand? Right? And so usually when I say stuff like this, then people say, okay, I'm doing it for my kids, because I want my kids to see what I'm doing, da, 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 da. And while that's better than saying my why is to be wealthy, it's not necessarily the strongest thing either, right? Because kids see not just what you're saying, they see not just the business, but they see what that business and what you're saying takes away from them, right? So you can say, I'm building this business for my kids, but your kids may grow up and say, every time daddy, mommy worked on the business, they didn't pay me any attention, right? So you don't know what that business is going to inadvertently do to your kids, right? So while we're saying we building this for our kids, the most important thing that we can give our kids is our time, right? So it's a good thing in your heart to say, but you're going to need something in addition to that. Because then the other thing is, let's say that works for you, all right? Arthur, you don't know me. My kids say everything. Got it. I understand. I don't know you. And that may very well be true. But at some point, they're going to be grown and they're going to have lives of their own, right? At some point, they're going to move away, build families of their own. Are you then going to say that I'm doing this business for my kids who are no longer taking part in the day-to-day aspects of watching you build your business? They may not even care. They may have businesses of their own. You still going to say it's for your kids then? That's a yes or no. That's something you got to think about, right? So I hear what you're saying, Arthur. If money's not it, if family's not it, then what is? That's the thing. You got to decide for you. I was listening to this billionaire, Michael Lee Chin. He's the one that I always follow because he was, he grew up poor. He pulled himself up by his own bootstraps, made some really good decisions, and became a billionaire in the, I think, 80s and 90s. Took some hits in like the 2000s, but recovered and is doing well, at least on the outside looking in. And when he told me this why, it just made sense to me and it resonated with me. And so I'm going to share it with you, and I hope that it resonates with you. Your why has to be rooted in this. What I'm building is right. And is not only beneficial for people, it's what people need and what people want and will positively impact their lives. People's lives will be made better as a result of me doing this thing over the long haul, right? So for us, I have two businesses, SIFT Institute, where the goal is to teach people the right way to use their skills to bring them the maximum benefit, financially, mentally, whole, and all that, right? And it's it was not an accredited school, but it's a school approved in the state of Georgia that does that, right? When I say accredited, I mean like by the Department of Education. So whatever. That's that one. The other one, Grenada Nut Company, it's an all-natural pain relief product. None CBD, none of that stuff. But it's also compliant with FDA, meaning that like the way it's formulated meets FDA guidelines, right? And when people try it, it makes their lives better. It helps their knees, it helps their back, it helps their neck, all these different things that it helps people, right? And here's the kicker. Right? It is more effective than a lot of the stuff that's out there. Like we're doing case studies right now. Well, we're not. We actually outsource it to some external people so we can make sure all the data is objective. And it's showing that our stuff is better, right? We have the patients coming in using it, saying that it's better, it's more effective. We have customers that repeat buy, and they're not buying again and again because we're marketing them all the time, because really that is one of my weak areas. It's in the recurring emails. So they're saying that it's effective, right? And then it's not a pill, right? So they don't have to take more pills, right? And then because it's all natural, we don't have as big of a worry as other companies with it conflicting with some of the things some of the medications that they're already taking, right? And now we have the spray version, we have a rub version that's like kind of like a lotion, we have a cream version. It's all these, right? But it makes people's lives better. They can go back to leading a normal life as a result of something that we created. And we created it originally because I was in pain. Right. And then we stumbled across this because the next family is from Grenada, and that's how I work. Right. So I know even when I don't feel like doing it, I can quit. But 74 million people have chronic joint pain. And we know this works. So if I quit now, I'm saying it doesn't matter. Right. I'm also showing my family what it means to pursue something at the benefit of others. Right. I'm also showing many other people like you what it means to pursue something and work with excellence as best you can with the tools that you have to benefit others and the reward that comes back to you. Right. So all those things come to form my why. So what's yours? OK, really take the time to sit down and say, my why is this. Write it down. Make it plain. All right. And then make sure it resonates with your heart. If it doesn't, then just keep working it. And the other thing, your why can change, right? So if you do say, I'm doing it for the money, and then you hit your goal, then money is no longer the motivating factor. Then it may be your kids. Then it may be your customers. It may be this. You're not pigeonholed for once and forever on a why, but you do have to have a why that is authentic and real to you. Okay? And you don't have to share it with everybody. It ain't everybody's business to know what motivates you, because everybody's not on your squad. Got it? Okay. So I want you to take that time and say to yourself, pen and paper, cell phone, iPad, whatever, and write it down and keep tweaking it until when you see it, it does something in you that says, I'm willing to get up in the morning and do this again. Okay? Because the truth of the matter is this. It's going to take you some years for you to get that real success that you're looking for. I'm going to go over that in a new podcast over the next few weeks, right? The amount of years it takes and why. But it's going to take some time. Like some people pop, quickly, or we think it's quickly because, we see them all over the place, but you don't see all the years that they worked. And you're going to have something strong enough to help you endure through all those failures. Like I've told you guys many times, there were a few businesses that failed and tanked in spectacular fashion before Sith Institute made its first $1 million, right? There were a few businesses that tanked and almost destroyed my name or kind of did before Grenada Nut Company won its $50,000 business grant from the Veteran Shark Tank competition, right? And so the why that I had allowed me to keep moving forward despite all those hits. So this is very, very, very important. You can't shirk this. It's not easy, but you can't shirk this. And if you do, then, you're not going to be in this game long. All right? I'm not interested in BSing you. I'm going to give you the real truth so you can move and be successful. Okay? Now, if you want, share your why with me. Right? By doing that allows me to see what you're working with and what matters to you. And then I can encourage you. I'll reach out to you directly, right? And then we can have that two-way conversation online or whatever venue benefits us both at the time, because I want you to succeed. This is the only reason I'm doing this, right? I just want your journey to not be plagued with unnecessary missteps, right? So I love you guys, and yeah, let's get it. All right. Be blessed. I'll see you next time.